Back and we're actually on PDF editor, like I should have been in the first place. What is up, everybody? Piscean here, and I'm going to talk about the Zodiacal Codex, the 12 signs, extensive reports on each of them. So please subscribe, like, comment, share if you dare and care, with peace and love. So Aries. It's fire. It's cardinal. The spark that ignites the other fires. Cardinal fire is not sustained warmth. It is the initial strike of flint against steel. And we see traditional and modern Mars. No second ruler. Aries is Mars' home, and Mars has no other domicile except the esoteric co-rulership of Pluto, and some systems faculty rejects this. Exaltation is Sun, 19 degrees Aries, the self-radiant assertion. Detriment is Venus. Libra is its home sign, but we'll say Venus and Aries, right? Relationship as negotiation is alien to Aries. And its fall is Saturn, 29 degrees Aries, anoretic. Specifically, that would be sharp. Discipline as delay is anathema. All right? Aries is not the sign of the warrior. It is the sign of the umbilical severance. The moment the soul accepts that existence requires separation, the ram's horns are the tools of this incision. Every Aries placement carries a memory of the primordial cut, and every Aries act is an attempt to either reenact or heal that wound. The glyph is the ram's horns, but also a spring of water, the source. Geometrically, it represents a line that curves back on itself, forming a loop. Impulse line that circles back to its origin, loop. Aries energy moves out, then returns to check if the self still exists. Sulfur, the combustible principle, not the passive fuel, but the agent of ignition. In the alchemical Negrito, Aries provides the heat that blackens the matter. So its gift is initiation, courage, honesty, physical presence, vulnerability, impulse without memory. The ram forgets yesterday's lesson in today's charge. Shadow is violence turned outward, rage or inward, self-laceration. The unhealed wound festers. To learn that the cut can heal, the first wound need not be the last. Aries matures when it trades the sword for the scalpel, still cutting, but with precision and for a purpose. I am the first, therefore I am also the last, for every beginning contains its end. All right, Taurus, the sign of the unshakable ground. It's earth, it's fixed. Fixed earth is not soil, it is bedrock, the stratum that does not tremble. Traditional and modern Venus. Venus in Taurus is not airy romance, but sensual embodiment, the beauty of a ripe apple, the weight of gold. Its exaltation is the moon. Emotion finds stability in the tangible. Detriment is Mars. Disruption of the sensory field in fall is Pluto. Forced transformation of the unmovable. Taurus does not chase, it waits. The bull stands in the field, chewing, watching. Its philosophy, value is not found by seeking, it is found by allowing what is valuable to reveal itself. The Taurian knows that the best things, love, wealth, art, take time to ripen. You cannot hurry the apple. The glyph is the bull's head and horns, but also a circle atop a crescent. Spirit, circle, grounded in matter, crescent. The circle is not open like Aries, it is closed, complete. So salt, the fixed, the non-combustible, the body of the work. Taurus is the vessel that holds the alchemical heat without cracking. Its gift is endurance, loyalty, sensory intelligence, patience, vulnerability to stubbornness as a substitute for discernment. The bull holds its ground even when the ground has become a swamp. Shadow is possessiveness, the confusion of having with being, hoarding as a defense against loss. To learn that attachment is not love, the bull must sometimes release the field, walk away, and discover that the ground follows because the ground is within. I have, therefore I am, but when I lose, I learn that I am more than what I hold. All right, Gemini, the sign of the unfinished conversation. It's air, it's mutable. Mutable air is not wind, it is breath, the constant exchange between inside and outside. Traditional and modern, we see Mercury. Gemini is Mercury's day home. Virgo is the night home. Exaltation, non-traditionally. Faculty assigns North Node Rahu, 15 degrees Gemini, the restless seeking of connection. Detriment, Jupiter, meaning as a single story, not a dialogue. And fall, we'd say, in my opinion, Venus. Because how are you gonna get in a relationship with Gemini, Venus and Gemini? You're literally susceptible to being a cheater. That's just how it is. So it depends also what's aspecting though, and what other planets you have. But Venus and Gemini alone, yeah. So Gemini is not about two separate people. It is about the self as a conversation, the constant inner exchange between the one who asks and the one who answers, the one who doubts and the one who believes. The twins are not siblings, they are the subject and the object of every thought. The glyph is two vertical lines linked by horizontal bars, a bridge. Gemini's geometry is the connector between heaven and earth, between self and other, between question and answer. Mercury is the metal, not the planet. Quicksilver, fluid, impossible to hold. Gemini is the alchemical principle of volatility. Gift of curiosity, adaptability, wit, polyvalence, vulnerability, superficiality. The illusion that knowing many things is the same as knowing one thing deeply. And shadow is the eternal adolescent, avoiding commitment by always leaving a door open, always keeping an escape route. To learn that death is a different axis, not a higher one. The Gemini who matures does not abandon curiosity. She or he has the courage to stay in one conversation long enough to reach its bedrock. I ask, therefore I am, but the answer is not the end. It is the next question. All right, Cancer. The sign of the tidal return, water, cardinal. Cardinal water is not a lake, it is the spring. Water emerging from underground, the source of the river. Traditional and modern, moon, no other ruler. The moon is at home in Cancer, and Cancer alone rules the lunar tides. Exalted in Jupiter, expansion through nurturing, the generous mother. Detriment, Saturn, structure as coldness, the absent father. And here's the funny part, they say it's the absent father. That could even mean emotionally and psychologically, like my own. One who may have bipolar disorder and anger issues. Fall is Mars in Cancer. Aggression, invading the sanctuary. And we see Cancer lives between tide and land, between the ocean of the collective unconscious and the shore of individual identity. The crab shell is not a prison, it is a mobile sanctuary, home that travels with the self. Cancer's core dilemma, how to be open to the tidal pull of others without being swept away. The glyph is a spiral, often simplified as two circles, the breast, the nourishing source, but faculty interprets it as a crab's claw holding a pearl, protection of what is precious. Silver, the lunar metal, reflective, soft, and sacred to the mother. Cancer is the alchemical matrix, the womb where transformation begins. Its gift is nurturance, memory, emotional intelligence, fierce protection, vulnerability, enmeshment, the inability to distinguish one's own feelings from another's. Shadow, guilt is a substitute for action, the crab that clings to a past wound until it becomes a fossil. To learn that safe return does not require the same shore, the crab must sometimes leave the familiar tide pool, cross the sand, and find a new ocean. I feel, therefore I am, but feeling is not truth, it is a tide that rises and falls. Leo, the sign of the unapologetic radiance. So, Leo, it's fire, it's fixed. Fixed fire is not a flame. It is the heart of the star, sustained, nuclear, and self-powered. And we'll just say T and M. Sun, all right? Leo is the sun's only domicile. Exaltation, or EX. Pluto. Power as radiance, not coercion. Detriment, DE. Saturn. The collective over the individual, the cold crowd. And fall, non-traditionally, faculty assigns Uranus. Disruption of the self-stable light. Leo's philosophy. Your existence is its own justification. The lion does not roar to prove its strength. It roars because roaring is what lions do. Leo's central question, what would you do if no one were watching? The answer is your authentic self. The glyph is a circle with a curved line, the lion's tail, but faculty reads it as the sun's corona, the visible atmosphere of radiance that surrounds the star. Gold, the perfected metal, the sun's offspring. Leo's the alchemical rubido, the reddening, the final stage where the stone glows with its own light. Its gift is generosity, creativity, courage, loyalty, vulnerable to narcissism, the confusion of attention with love. Shadow is the eclipse. When the self's light is blocked by trauma or neglect, the lion becomes a performer, not a presence. All right? So, to learn that radiance does not require an audience, the sun shines on an empty field no less than on a crowded stadium. Leo matures when it can create without applause. I shine, therefore I am, but the shadow is not my enemy. It is the shape of my light. All right, Virgo. It's the sign of the holy micro-adjustment. It's earth. It's mutable. Mutable earth is not dust. It is compost, the constant turning of decay into fertility. Mercury. Virgo is Mercury's night home. Gemini is the day home. Mercury itself is exalted in Mercury. 15 degrees Virgo, to be exact. The planet is at its most analytical. Detriment is Jupiter. Boundless meaning is a threat to precision, and fall is Venus. All right? Love is messy, inefficient, unmeasurable. Virgo is the harvest sign, the winnowing of wheat from chaff. But the wheat is not good and the chaff bad. Both are necessary. The chaff protects the grain until it is time to thresh. Virgo's genius is discrimination without judgment. Seeing the use of each thing. The glyph is a woman holding a sheaf of wheat, but faculty abstracts it as a closed loop with a crossbar. The cycle of analysis loop interrupted by decision crossbar. Quicksilver, Mercury in its fixed form, cinnabar. Virgo is the alchemical separation stage, the purification of the prima materia. Its gift is precision, service, hygiene, critical intelligence, vulnerable to perfectionism, the belief that one mistake invalidates all effort. Shadow is self-flagellation, turning the winnowing fan on the self until nothing remains. To learn that good enough is a form of perfection, the field does not need every grain to be identical. It needs the harvest to be gathered. Virgo matures when it can say, this will do, and rest. I analyze, therefore I am, but the map is not the territory, and the clean room is not the world. All right. Libra, the sign of the delicate equilibrium. Air, cardinal. Cardinal air is not wind. It is the first breeze of autumn. The turning point, the shift from heat to cool. So, Venus. All right, Libra is Venus's day home. Taurus is the night home. It's exalted in Saturn. Structure is fairness, the lawgiver. Detrimented in Mars. Unilateral action is a threat to balance. And fall is its sun. The self's radiance dimmed by the need for consensus. So Libra knows that between any two poles, a third thing emerges. The relationship itself, the scales are not a judge, they are a witness. Libra's task is to hold attention so that the third thing can speak. And the glyph is a horizontal line with a curve above, a setting sun, but faculty reads it as a balance beam with two pans, equality and motion, not static. So we have electrum, the alloy of gold and silver. Libra is the alchemical conjunction, the sacred marriage of opposites. And we see its gift, diplomacy, fairness, aesthetics, social intelligence. Vulnerable to indecision, the fear that choosing will break the balance. Shadow is appeasement, sacrificing truth for the illusion of peace. To learn that balance is not stillness, the scales tip constantly. The art is in the tipping, not in the frozen equilibrium. Libra matures when it can choose and then rebalance. I relate, therefore I am, but the relationship is not the self. It is a dance where both partners lead. Scorpio is the sign of the composting dark. Water, fixed, and fixed water is not a lake. It is the deep aquifer. Dark, pressurized, and inexhaustible. Mars, modern, Pluto. All right, traditional is Mars. Faculty uses both. Mars provides the stinger, and Pluto provides the depth. Exalted Uranus, the sudden eruption of the repressed. Detriment Venus, the shallow peace that denies the abyss. Fall is moon, emotion without surface expression, the silent scream. Scorpio knows that what is buried is not dead, it is composting. The scorpion sting is not cruelty, it is the boundary. All right? Scorpio's task is to descend, to touch the taboo, to bring the treasure of the underworld to the surface without being consumed. The glyph is a scorpion with its tail raised, the stinger, but faculty reads it as an arrow with a barb, the wound that cannot be easily removed. Depth, loyalty, courage, regenerative power, suspicion, the belief that vulnerability is a trap, control, hoarding power because trust has been broken. To learn that the abyss is also a garden, the descent is not a punishment. It is a pilgrimage. Scorpio matures when it can release the stinger and trust that the wound will heal. I desire, therefore I am, but the object of desire is a mirror. I am only seeking myself. Sagittarius, the sign of the unreachable horizon. Alright, so Sag is fire. It's mutable, so mutable fire is not a flame. It is the spark that jumps from log to log, from idea to idea, never settling. Traditional and modern, Jupiter, Sagittarius is Jupiter's day home, Pisces is the night home. Exaltation, non-traditionally, faculty assigns Ketu. The arrow that returns is a boomerang, and detriment, Mercury. Detail is a distraction from meaning. Fall, we don't have one. So Sagittarius is not the wanderer. It is a purposeful traveler. The archer draws the bow, aims, releases, but the arrow does not stop. Sagittarius' philosophy, meaning is not found, it is pursued, and the pursuit never ends. The glyph is an arrow crossed by a line, the archer's bow, but faculty reads it as a double line ascending the upward trajectory of the soul. 10. Jupiter's metal, malleable, expansive, but soft. Sagittarius is the alchemical distillation, the rising vapor that seeks the heavens. Optimism, philosophical reach, humor, honesty, restlessness, the belief that the next place will be better than this one. Dogmatism, the archer who mistakes the arrow for the target, the map for the territory. So to learn that the horizon is a line you carry with you, you can never reach it, but the walking is a transformation. Sagittarius matures when it can sit still and find infinity in a single room. I seek, therefore I am, but the seeking is the destination, and I have already arrived. Capricorn, the sign of the summit's weight. Earth, cardinal. Cardinal earth is not soil, it is the mountain. The earth that rises, that pushes upward against gravity. Traditional and modern, Saturn. Capricorn is Saturn's day home, while Aquarius is the night home. Exalted in Mars, disciplined action, the soldier's climb, detriment in Moon, emotion is a destabilizing tide, and fall is Jupiter, expansion blocked by structure. Excuse me. Capricorn is the sea goat, a creature of the depths that climbs the highest peaks. Its philosophy, the mountain is not conquered, it is ascended, and the ascent requires leaving something behind at each switchback. Comfort, youth, naivety, friends who cannot keep up. The glyph is a sea goat's body with a fish's tail. The connection between the abyss and the summit, faculty reads it as a spiral compressed into a peak, time folded into a point. Lead, the heaviest, the darkest, the base metal. Capricorn is the alchemical negrito in its most patient form, the long, slow blackening that takes years. Excuse me. Discipline, patience, ambition, integrity. Melancholy, the weight of time is a burden, not a teacher. Workaholism, the confusion of achievement with worth. To learn that the summit is empty, the climb was the point. Capricorn matures when it can stop climbing, look down, and see that the valley was beautiful all along. I achieve, therefore I am, but the achievement is a tomb unless I leave the door open. All right. Aquarius, a sign of the cold fire. Air, fixed air is not wind. It is the atmosphere, the invisible envelope that surrounds and sustains all life. So traditional is Saturn, modern is Uranus. Faculty uses Saturn as the structure and Uranus as the rupture. Non-traditionally exalted, faculty assigns Mercury for some reason, the intellectual lightning bolt. And it could do really good there just because, hey, you know, Aquarius is collectivism, so when you need like a mayor or a political figure, maybe this individual has Mercury in Aquarius. So its detriment is Sun in Aquarius. The individual ego is a threat to the collective. Fall is Pluto, the dissolution of the group into tyranny. Aquarius pours water for everyone but drinks last. Its philosophy, the network is more important than any node. The individual is a temporary expression of the collective intelligence. To love humanity is to sometimes fail to love the human in front of you. The glyph is two wavy lines, water but not liquid water. Faculty reads it as radio waves, information, frequency, the unseen signal. Uranium, Modern alchemy, unstable, radiating, capable of chain reaction. Aquarius is the alchemical projection, the stage where the stone multiplies. Originality, social conscious, objectivity, genius, emotional distance, the defense against vulnerability disguised as principle, the inhuman intellectual analyzing a friend's grief as a case study. To learn that the network is made of individuals, you cannot serve humanity by avoiding humans. Aquarius matures when it can pour the water, then sit and drink with the others. I connect, therefore I am, but the connection is not a wire, it is a hand. And Pisces, the sign of the dissolving veil. So, mutable water is not a river. It is the ocean, the boundaryless, the deep, the source of all rivers. Traditional Jupiter, modern Neptune. Faculty uses Jupiter as the expansive meaning and Neptune as the dissolving boundary. Exalted Venus, love without condition, without limit. Detriment Mercury, precision as a violence against mystery. Fall, Mercury also, the mind drowned in feeling. Pisces is the sign of two fishes swimming in opposite directions tied by a silver cord. The cord is compassion, the refusal to let go, even when separation would be easier. Pisces philosophy, separation is an illusion. You are not a drop in the ocean, you are the ocean and a drop. The glyph is two arcs connected by a line. The fish is in their cord. Faculty reads it as a Mobius strip, the surface with only one side, where inside and outside merge. Aqua regia, the royal water that dissolves gold itself. Pisces is the alchemical solution, the final dissolution before the new form emerges. Compassion, imagination, mysticism, artistic genius, escapism, the belief that the boundary is the enemy, not the condition of existence. Martyrdom, sacrifice without transformation, drowning without rebirth. To learn that the veil is not the enemy, it is what makes the sacred sacred. Pisces matures when it can honor the boundary while knowing it is temporary. I dissolve, therefore I am, but the dissolution is not an end. It is a return to the source, and the source is always beginning. Alright, and then we have our appendix here. Just so you know, the Zodiacal Codex is now the standard reference for all faculty teaching on the signs. Each sign is a philosophical instrument, not a prison. The wise astrologer reads the client's sun, moon, and rising not as fixed traits but as lenses, and knows that the client contains all 12, whether they know it or not. Alright, so our appendix shows our faculty summary table, their sign, elements, modality, ruler, rulers, evolutionary goal, and shadow. So, Aries, Sagittarius, and Leo, and then we'll do Earth, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Talk about Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, and Aquarius, Libra, Gemini. So, what do we see here? Aries, it's fire, it's cardinal, it's Mars, heal the first wound, and violence. All right, Taurus, earth, fixed, Venus, release attachment and hoarding. Gemini is air, it's mutable, Mercury, add depth to breadth, superficiality. Cancer is water, cardinal, moon, find home within, and brings enmeshment. Leo is fire, it's fixed, sun, create without applause, and narcissism. Virgo is earth, mutable, Mercury, embrace, good enough, and perfectionism. Libra is air, cardinal, Venus, choose and rebalance, appeasement. Scorpio is water, fixed, Mars, Pluto, trust the descent, and control. Sagittarius is fire, mutable, Jupiter, sit still with infinity and dogmatism. Capricorn is earth, cardinal, Saturn, value the climb, not the summit, workaholism. Aquarius is air, fixed, Saturn, Uranus, serve the human in front of you, emotional distance. And Pisces is water, mutable, Jupiter, Neptune, honor the veil, and escapism. Alright. My next video, we're going to talk about war and global conflict by the Faculty of Advanced Astrological Magic and Celestial Alchemy. Authored by the Inner Spiral Council, Office of Mundane Catastrophe Studies, Year of the Echoing Degrees, 2026. And this treatise treats war not as a moral failure, but as a celestial pressure release, a predictable, measurable phenomenon arising from specific planetary configurations. It offers no justification, only rigor. The goal is prediction, mitigation, and, where possible, prevention through collective ritual. So, with peace and love, we'll see you there, talking on the belligerent spiral. Piscean out.